This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
Where does 2020 and the start of 2021 fit into history? We talked with the Vice President of the Greater Hazleton Area Historical Society to get his perspective. Hi friends, I hope you're having a great day and I thank you for spending part of it with us. I'm Ken Carr with your local information. Joe Biden became the 46th President of the United States of America today. Biden will have to hit the ground running, fighting a pandemic and trying to unite a divided country. Our Janine Lassant interviewed a local historian last week to try and put recent events into context.
Well, we have a new president and we have a vaccine, or I should say vaccines out for COVID-19. So a lot has happened in the beginning of 2021. We are glad to have Charles McElwee back with us from the Greater Hazleton Historical Society. He is the vice president there. And Charles, always nice to talk history and how it relates to current events with you.
Yes, I always enjoy talking about the historical context.
Very good. So let's begin. A lot has happened since the start of a new year with a new president. We have a divided country over strong issues and strong beliefs. You know, we have the two forms of vaccines out for COVID-19. Lots going on here in the country.
It's a nightmarish period. I mean, you have so many factors, right? A pandemic that there doesn't seem to be an end in sight. You have rising crime in cities, you have just widespread economic devastation, and that alone, I don't think people fully comprehend how awful it really is out there. And of course, people may be asking themselves, you know, have we been here before? Are there examples in history that can offer solace when you think about right now? And unfortunately, I can't think of a period, at least within our lifetimes, that has been so bad. I mean, I know I've heard people say, oh, well, 1968 was worse. And of course, 1968 included the city riots, Vietnam, the assassinations of RFK and Martin Luther King. But even 1968, when you look at what's going on right now, I mean, this seems even worse. So it is tough to think of a period in history that is comparable to right now. But I do think there are chapters, even in local history, and the role that Hazleton, for some reason, despite its size, figures largely in American history. There are examples of at least the role that Hazleton has played politically in past periods of political tumult.
Before the pandemic, speaking personally, owning a business and talking with other business owners, it seemed as though we had an economy that was on the uprise. We had job creations, we had spirit. There was a lot of positive momentum going on throughout the country. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and now you just see things spiraling out of control with division, you know. And so how do we look back? What do we take back from history to kind of find some answers on how we're going to improve and work as one country? And I know I'm asking you probably hard questions that can't be answered in one sentence or two.
Absolutely. It's a tough question. I think it's a question that we're all almost philosophically asking ourselves. What makes this period so challenging is when you think about everything that happened the past year, that this time last year, we were in the best economy in over 50 years. And things were looking so great. We were aware of the distant headlines of a pandemic in China, but it was, in our case, still a distant concern, even though Congress by that point understood the enormity of what was ahead of us. But of course, in January 2020, Capitol Hill was consumed by the impeachment hearings and not the reality of what was to come, which was this devastating and deadly pandemic. And if you think about this past year and everything that has happened, yeah, it can induce almost like a sense of vertigo. And on top of everything else, it seems to be accelerating history. So we're living history, but at the same time, everything that seems to happen in like gradual time seems to be accelerating. We're like entering this hyper period where, for example, technology is accelerating and almost creating this, it's almost evaporating the difference between online and offline life. So many people are now working remote. So many people are changing how they live, and it's being dictated by the internet. And I don't know if we'll return in many ways to how we lived before. And that I find personally to be disturbing.
Well, I like to end on a positive note as to what goes up must come down and vice versa. So I don't know how much lower we could get. So hopefully we're on an incline in 2021, and hopefully the state starts opening back up here in Pennsylvania by the spring, summer, and even into the fall with the vaccine out. Charles, we can talk for hours on this, but thanks for joining us here. Always nice to hear your insight on history.
Thanks for having me on.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Feisner's Ford in Freeland, who is celebrating 75 years in business. Give them a call at 570-636-3920, or you can log on to feisnersford.com.
Time now for weather on SSPTV News.
Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service. On Thursday, there's a 20% chance of snow showers between 8 a.m. and noon. It will be cloudy, then gradually becoming mostly sunny with highs in the 30s. Thursday night, mostly cloudy with lows in the 20s. Friday, a 20% chance of snow showers after 2 p.m., partly sunny with highs in the 30s. Friday night, 20% chance of snow showers before 8 p.m., mostly cloudy with lows in the teens. Saturday is mostly sunny with highs in the 20s. Saturday night, partly cloudy with lows in the teens. Sunday is mostly sunny with highs in the 20s. And Sunday night, mostly cloudy with lows in the teens. Coming up, our in-depth community and sports features, and we have a clip from our web series Good Sports in the SSPTV Spotlight as we talk with former Hazleton Area High School softball player Maria Tribalpiece about studying psychology in college.
SSPTV News would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Betty Carmela Baskin of Hazleton, services will be private under the Firo Funeral Home. Eric Antonio Cruz, age 21 of Hazleton, Mass will be held on Saturday at 10 a.m. at Church of St. Gabriel. The Frank J. Bonham Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Celicio de la Cruz Duran Gonzalez, age 76 of Hazleton, services will be held at the convenience of the family under the Frank J. Bonham Funeral Home. Ruth A. Hinkle, age 80 of Packer Township, services will be private under the Philip J. Jeffries Funeral Home. Jacqueline Ray Holtz, age 72 of Zion Grove, the Harmon Funeral Home in Rock Glen will announce the arrangements. Rita M. Horrocks, age 100 of Freeland, services will be held at a later date under the McHugh-Wilczek Funeral Home. Cynthia Jo Johnson, age 60 of Hazleton, services will be private under the Harmon Funeral Home in Drums. Patricia A. Cott, age 78 of McAdoo, services will be private under the Damiano Funeral Home. Walter F. Crocos, age 80 of Parsons, Mass will be held on Thursday at 10 a.m. at Saints Peter and Paul Church in Plains Township. Friends may call Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. at the E. Blake Collins Funeral Home in Wilkes-Barre. Albert J. McLovich, age 78 of Freeland, services will be private under the McHugh-Wilczek Funeral Home. Mary Teresa Boyle Mitcher of Colliers, no services have been announced at this time. Mary Price, age 81 of Luzerne, any family or friends who ask to call the Luzerne County Coroner's Office at 570-825-1664. And Laura Zulinski, age 95 of Hazleton, services will be private under the Hillary J. Bonham Funeral Home. Today's social and obituary report is brought to you by Harmon Funeral Homes and Crematory. Call 570-788-0977 or go to harmonfuneral.com.